Alright, now let's try solving quadratic inequalities by graphing. Okay, as always, pause the video to get the most out of them and try the examples. So in this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to complete the square to find the vertex to be able to graph it, and then I'm going to use a test point like we did with the other one. So to complete the square, we take the leading coefficient and divide it out, which we don't have here. It's just a 1. So 1x squared, and we take the middle term, 3x, we divide it by 2, so we'll get 3, and then we square it, so we'll have plus 9 as well as a minus 9, and then we can factor this into a perfect trinomial that we just created, so that's going to be the middle term, so 6 divided by 2, so it's going to be x plus 3 squared, and then this becomes just minus 4. So then we have that as our equation. And then that tells us that the vertex is at minus 3, comma, minus 4. So minus 3, let's just say it roughly around here, and then minus 4 roughly around here. And then y-intercept, if we plug in 0 at 5. So it's just going to look something like this. Obviously not the most accurate, but it'll do. So that's the graph of our solution. And then we have to test a point, so let's just use 0, 0 and see if it's true. So let's see if this part or outside of the graph is part of our solution. So we'd go 0 greater than 0, so like plus 5 basically, because this would be 0, and then that would mean that that is not true. So as a result, the solution would have to be everything inside of the quadratic. And you can also factor that down to get like x plus 5, x plus 1, and then have the intercepts at minus 1, comma, minus 5 on your graph, just for completion and for a more accurate sketch, but that's how we do these. Let's try doing this one. So same process as before. So in this one, we already completed the square. So it's the same question as before, but now it's less than. So we had y is equal to x plus 3 squared minus 4 when we did that right here. And then let's just make a quick sketch. And it was like this. So it was like minus 5, 1, vertex of minus 3, comma, minus 4. So around here, y-intercept of 5. And now, if we test 0, 0, we would have 0. So test to see if this point, or any point you can pick really, is part of your solution. You would have 0 is less than 5, which is true. So that tells you that the outside region is part of the solution. So that means the solution to this would be all of this area, everything that's not in the parabola. Okay. So if it's true, that's shaded. If it's false, the other region is shaded. Okay, let's try this one. So let's factor it. It's always easiest to just do completing the square to find the vertex. So we're going to divide out the negative 2 from the first two terms. We'll get x squared and then minus 4x. Close the bracket, leave some space. Divide the negative 4 by 2, you'll get negative 2, and then you take the negative 2 and you square it, and you'll get 4 and minus 4. The minus 4 times the minus 2 to get it out would become plus 8. So now you have y is greater than minus 2, and then we can take these three terms and then factor it down to x minus 2, because it's always going to be the middle term divided by 2, squared, plus 8. So now to graph it, this tells us the vertex is at 2, 8, and the negative 2 tells us that it's a downward opening parabola, and it's going to have a stretch of minus 2. So just to make it a little bit better, let's make it bigger. So 2 comma 8, let's just say something like that. And then y-intercept is going to be at 0 comma 0, because you plug in 0, you'll get that. And then just kind of open it downward. And then next we are going to pick a point. Like let's say we pick 0 comma 0 is part of our solution. So let's pick 0 comma or minus 1 comma 0. So like let's pick this point right here. And you can pick anything. You can pick inside the parabola or on the outside, but if we pick something on the outside, it's usually a little bit easier to see if it's part of the solution or not, just because it's like, so we'd say 0 greater than minus 2 comma minus 1 squared plus 8 times minus 1. So then this is going to be 0 is greater than minus 1 squared is 1 times minus 2, so minus 2. And then that's minus 8. So is 0 greater than minus 10? It is. So as a result, the whole outside region, aside from the parabola, will be shaded. And just ignore that little part. Okay, perfect.